I only read one book, but it's a good book, don't you know? I act the way I act because the good book tells me so. If I want to know how to be good, it's to the good book that I go. Because the good book is a book, and it is good, and it's a book.
And switching locations once again, unto the land of the Canaanites, where Joseph's family did still reside, we do find ourselves in the scruffy-looking office at the back of the tent belonging to Big J's used cows and goats, pitched out in the desert, and sat at his desk, still wearing nothing but ash-covered potato sacks, was Jacob, who was known as Israel unto his friends, and the boss unto everyone else, who did read through that day's paper, while his sons did hang around the office playing cards amongst themselves or watching cartoons on television. Now, when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob looked up from his paper and said unto his sons, Why do ye look one upon another, sat around, doing fuckest all? And he said, Behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Now get a few of the boys together in a couple of the ox cart, and get you down thither, and buy for us from hence, that we may live, and not die. And Joseph's 10 brethren did file out of the tent, and did gather several of the servants together, and they did check their weapons. And when the ox cart was brought around the front, they did climb inside, and went down to buy corn in Egypt. But Benjamin, Joseph's brother, Jacob sent not with his brethren, for he said, Lest peradventure mischief befall him. For the last time he had let one of the sons of Rachel accompany the rest, he had been taken out, and all he had to remind him of him was his blood-soaked jacket. And the sons of Israel came to buy corn among those that came, and did have to wait in line, for the famine was in the land of Canaan as well, and the only place still supplying was Egypt. And Joseph was the governor over the land, and he it was that sold to all the people of the land for in Egypt, for there were shrewd tactics, and with government backing he had cornered the corn market, and put the rest of the cartels out of business. And Joseph's brethren came, and bowed down themselves before him, with their faces to the earth. And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them, and did walk with a limp, and squint, though he did want to throw each and every one of them down the nearest well. And he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan, to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but not in the biblical way, but they knew not him. And Joseph remembered the dreams which he dreamed of them, and it did bring a warm feeling unto his nether regions. And he remembered the dreams about corn and stars also, and he did get up from the seat in which he was sitting, and said unto them, Ye are spies, to see the nakedness of the land ye are come. And upon hearing this, they did shit unto themselves, and they did say unto him, Nay, my lord, but to buy food are thy servants come. And they did look perversely unto each other for the fear of it, for they did know that spies were fitted with concrete boots, and dropped into the Nile. And they said unto Joseph, We are all one man's sons. We are true men, proper, manly men's men, who do manly things with other men. Thy servants are no spies. And because he did enjoy watching them squirm, he did continue trolling them, and he said unto them, Nay, but to see the nakedness of the land ye are come. And with a subtle nod he did signal to his henchmen, who did move to cover the doors. And they said, Thy servants are 12 brethren, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And, behold, the youngest is this day with our father, and one is not. And they did start to get nervous, as Joseph's henchmen did take their weapons from their holsters, and make them ready. And Joseph's assistant did come over unto him, and did whisper into his ear, and then did retreat. And Joseph said unto them, That is it that I spake unto you, saying, Ye are spies. For my compatriot doth tell me that at least one of thee was present when he did barely escape, upon whence the premises of his master in London were raided by the police, and all but him were put in chains, and taken unto prison. And they did all look upon one another most nervously. And Joseph did continue, Hereby ye shall be proved by the life of Pharaoh. Which it must be agreed was a strange thing for Joseph to swear to, considering that a man righteous with the Lord would usually swear unto him. Ye shall not go forth hence, except your youngest brother come hither. And the eldest did say unto Joseph, Well, let us get him on the phone, so that he may get at his arse down here, and sort this whole mess out. And Joseph did remark that, alas, such a device would not as be invented for thousands of years. And he continued, Send one of you, and let him fetch your brother, and ye shall be kept in prison, that your words may be proved, whether there be any truth in you. Or else, by the life of Pharaoh, surely ye are spies. And they did mumble amongst themselves. Then one of their number did ask what assurance they did have that upon leaving for the airport to take Joseph's message yonder unto their father, that whoever shalt be sent shall not as be instead thrown out of a helicopter with only a short rope around their neck to save them from the long drop. And Joseph did reply that there was none. And he put them all together in the ward 3 days, where they were known by the other inmates repeatedly. And Joseph said unto them the third day, This do, and live, and let thy horizons and thy ring pieces be not stretched further, for I fear God. Which should have been a really big clue unto them that Joseph really wasn't an Egyptian. For if he had been, he would either fear Pharaoh or the Egyptian gods. If ye be true men, let one of your brethren be bound in the house of your prison. And all of them did shudder, as they did have visions of being strapped up in a leather gimp outfit, and chained up in a locked box in the basement. Go ye, carry corn for the famine of your houses. And in a way that would in centuries to come get a great number of priests into a great deal of trouble, he said, But bring your youngest brother unto me. So shall your words be verified, and ye shall not die. And they did so, but not just yet. And they said one to another, We are verily guilty concerning our brother, in that we saw the anguish of his soul when he besought us, and we would not hear. And we threw him down that well anyway, and then let him be sold into slavery. Therefore is this distress come upon us, because they did know that in narratives such as this, what thou did at the beginning of the story wouldst always come back to bite us thee on the arse by the end, and they did look around the room for any open lift shafts that they might as fall down after a desperate struggle, or a window that they might as be thrown out of. And Reuben, who had just got back from a business trip in London, answered them, saying, Spake I not unto you, saying, Do not sin against the child, and ye would not hear. Therefore, behold, also his blood is required. And they did all turn unto him, and did admit that he was indeed right, and then did tell him to go fucketh off and be spoke elsewhere. And they knew not that Joseph understood them, for he spake unto them by an interpreter, who would not have had a job had it not been for the Lord's job-creating initiative many years back in Babel, and who had summarized the conversation by saying that they were considering Joseph's offer. And he turned himself about from them, and wept, or at least that is what he did want them to think. For in truth he did laugh his arse off repeatedly, and tears did roll down his face, and he did bite upon his fist lest they should hear him. And then he regained his composure, and returned to them again, and continued with them, with the use of his interpreter, and took from them Simeon, and bound him before their eyes. And lo, in years to come, the vision before them would resemble what would result if a thing called The Planet of the Apes was written by a scribe who would be known as E.L. James, who would also write a thing called 50 Shades of Grey, and they did hand Simeon a banana, or rather insert it within a convenient orifice, and led him away unto the dungeons in chains. Then Joseph, speaking Egyptian, so that his brethren would not understand him, commanded his servants to fill their sacks with corn, and to restore every man's money into his sack, for he did explain that he was presently running a cashback offer on 10 bags of corn or more, and to give them provision for the way, and thus did he unto them. And being thankful that negotiations had been concluded with only negligible losses, they laded their asses with the corn, and departed hence as fast as they were able. And once out of town, and well on their way, they did come upon a roadside inn, and did decide to stop off for a pie and a pint, before making their way home. And as one of them opened his sack to give his ass provender in the inn, he espied his money, for behold, it was in his sack's mouth. And he said unto his brethren, My money is restored, and lo, it is even in my sack. And their heart failed them, and they were afraid, saying one to another, What is this that God hath done unto us? For it is not like Hebrews have ever before come out of Egypt with more than they went in with, as the result of some sort of underhanded trickery that did somehow involve the Lord. Yet it was the first time that a Hebrew had ever been unhappy about getting his money back in full, yet still being able to keep the goods that he had bought. And after downing a skinful, and setting off on a long and arduous journey lasting many days and weeks, during which nothing much else of further note occurred, or at least anything that they were willing to admit to, they came unto Jacob, their father, unto the land of Canaan, and told him all that befell unto them, saying, The man who is the lord of the land, who doth wear a pair of spectacles with a plastic nose and moustache attached, walk with a pronounced limp, and talk in a squeaky voice with an amusing accent, and who is in no way even mildly recognizable as someone that we might possibly know, spake roughly to us, and took us for spies of the country. And we said unto him, hoping that they did not examine Simeon too closely, We are true men with real beards who do manly things. We are no spies. We be 12 brethren, sons of our father. One is not, although we did not necessarily specify exactly what it was that he was not, other than that he was not here. And the youngest is this day with our father in the land of Canaan. And the man, the lord of the country, hoping that we were not the kind of brethren that might, say for instance, just happen to dump one of our own down a well and sell him into slavery and then tell our father that he had in fact been eaten by monsters, and so be quite happy to leave another one of our number to rot for the rest of his days in an Egyptian dungeon, said unto us, Hereby shall I know that ye be true men. Leave one of your brethren here with me, and take food for the famine of your households, and be gone. And bring your youngest brother unto me, then shall I know that ye are no spies, but that ye are true men. So will I deliver you your brother, and ye shall traffic in the land. And it did not yet occur unto us that this whole situation might not have occurred unto us, had we only said that there were but 10 of us, and we did mention not our youngest step-brother. And in a moment, that must have seemed unto them like déjà vu, it came to pass, as they emptied their sacks, that, behold, just like back at the inn they stopped at on the way home, every man's bundle of money was in his sack. And when both they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid, which was not in character with their stereotype, which did suggest that Hebrews should be overjoyed for getting something for free. For they did know that the Egyptians would right now be wondering where their money was, and that their boss was going to think that they had stitched him up, and run off with the shipment without pain. And it would not be long before he did feed their brother Simeon to the crocodiles, and put a contract out on the rest of them. And Jacob, their father, was what can only be described as fucking furious, and without a word did take his handgun out of his desk drawer, and did shoot Levi in the left knee, and after a prolonged rant said unto them, I giveth thee one simple thing to do, that thee goest down unto the land of Egypt with a big bag of money, and come back with a shipment, and thou fuckest it up. Me have ye bereaved of my children. Joseph is not, and Simeon is not, and ye will take Benjamin away. All these things are against me, and they are going to come here, demanding payment in blood. And Asher did ask what Joseph and Simeon were not, and Jacob did shoot him in the left knee also, saying, Here! And did ask the others assembled if they did have any other stupid questions they felt they needed answers for. And Reuben spake unto his father, saying, Slay my 2 sons, if I bring him not to thee. Deliver him into my hand, and I will bring him to thee again. And with a stern expression Jacob did say unto him, So thou thinkest thou, do thee? Thou thinkest that I will shoot us my grandkids if thou doth not bring back mine son, doth thee? And Reuben did say yes. And Jacob did point his gun at Reuben and did fire. But lo, the clip was empty, and the Lord spared him. And Jacob did say unto him, If thou doth not come back with him, thou better not come back at all, for thou art better be dead. For I shall not be out of bullets the next time thou shalt stand before me. And he did throw his empty handgun at Reuben, and said, My son shall not go down with you. For thanks to you his brother is dead, and he is left alone. If mischief befall him by the way in which ye go, then shall ye bring down my grey hairs with sorrow to the grave, and thou shalt be joining them. And the scene did fade to black, in a way that did suggest that the matter would be concluded later. And in a tent, at the edge of an encampment out in the desert, an old man did ponder the directions he had been given, as the Lord, who was finishing off the previous night's pizza, did sit reading through the narrative that he had been writing. And after a while he did ask unto the Lord if the directions that he had given unto him were correct. For he was sure that they had passed the old tree next to the rock that looked like an oddly shaped penis again just last week. And the Lord did turn the page over, and then back again, and did ask the man what did happen next, and if they did get their brother back in at the end, and if Joseph would get his bloodthirsty revenge. And the man did say that he would find out later on, maybe in the next chapter, for he was stretching this story out as much as possible, as he did reckon that he could get another 8 chapters out of it, at least. And the Lord was wroth, until he did remember once more that he did, in fact, know everything, and then he did smile, and did say, Nice ending, but I would leave out the bit where they nailed the small cuddly animal unto the tent post, as it is rather difficult to write a cheerful song about something like that.